Alright, folks, ArtSnacks time. So, this is the March ArtSnacks box. Um, yes, I did open it beforehand. We'll get to eventually me not opening things beforehand, but right now it's all about anxiety. And also, my best friend wanted the snack because it was Smarties. So, first of all, Bruynzeel, the ArtSnacks exclusive pack of 4 colored pencils. I love colored pencils, so this is exciting. Graphite brush liner, which I like brush liners, but not necessarily for lining. Uh, a Royal Langnickel Menta brush, which actually I have for a lot of watercolors. And Rembrandt paint in Dusk Pink, which is exciting because I'm pretty sure this is officially the most expensive art supply I own. So, let's get into the artwork. So first of all, with swatching, the graphite liner, nice and juicy, nice and soft, except I have super shaky hands. So soft is not necessarily the best thing for actually lining. The pencils are really nice. They're kind of an in-between. So they're not really hard, they're not really soft, but they are fairly nice and pigmented. Definitely have some filler in there, but not a super large amount. Um, I got 4 really nice colors, but this was the point at which I started to think, because when I first saw the colors, I kind of went, I think I know exactly what I'm going to do with these. And then I started swatching them, and I thought, I definitely don't know what I'm going to do with these. Um, so at this point, I was kind of like, I guess I'm doing a character design just because I looked at the nice peach color and was like, well, I guess I could draw a white person. Um, which, yeah. The blending is really good for them, aside from going from the really bright to anything relatively dark. So, that I had to kind of keep in mind. But other than that, as long as the colors were really close to each other, they blended really nicely. And now, the Rembrandt, which, like I said, most expensive art supply that I own. Uh, I love this color. Oh, I love this color so much. It is, it is so close to being it's dusk pink, but it is so close to being like the original dusk purple, royal purple. Um, and yeah, right there I was pointing out the fact that the waterproof liner has to be completely dry before it's waterproof, otherwise it smudges. Um, yeah, so that was something that I liked to know before going in with watercolor, obviously. Um, and again, I didn't know what I was going to draw at this point, so I just started doodling. Um, and then I kind of got an idea, um, mainly just because, I knew I was going to do some sort of character design, and I decided that I wanted to do something that was not my really round design like I did with the February box. I wanted to do something that was more the semi-realism illustration. Um, so I started kind of trying to make a not entirely stiff pose. I don't actually do this stuff. Thank you, dog. Um, that was Duo, my dog, stepping on a toy. Uh, he says hello, obviously. Um, But yeah, so with all of this pink, I kind of thought, you know what, let's do a dress. Why not? I like clothing, I like fashion design, that sort of thing. They fascinate me, even if it's not something I really want to do for a living. Um, so I decided to go with that. And yeah, curly hair because I like drawing curly hair. And I'm also at this point trying to think, okay, look, I've got this huge brush comparatively. So it does come to a fairly nice point. So, I might be able to do a little bit of detail here and there, get into some smaller areas, but it's not going to be super precise because it is a very big, broad brush. And I think it's a half inch, and which was actually, I didn't have um, a half inch wash or whatever they call that style of brush. So that was nice since, like I said, I do have that, have a lot of Menta. Um, Here was me trying to figure out if I could use the pencils, the Bruynzeel pencils. I started using the lightest, and the peach did not show up really well on camera. So when I was just sketching with it, and it didn't show up very well for my eyes either. Um, so I pulled out a pencil of my own to do my sketching because I didn't know exactly where the colors were gonna go, so I didn't want anything like really dark underneath everything, and yeah, so trying to figure this character out since the only things that I know is she's gonna be in a dress, and I wanted curly hair. Um, and like I said, I don't really do my semi-realism illustration style very often these days just because it takes more time and focus and effort, and with my really shaky hands it's really hard to be super precise. um, but yeah, I figured it wouldn't be too bad. I mean, I'm using colored pencils in this. Like I said before, the brush liner, I'm not 100% sure about, but that I can handle. The really broad brush for is not great for details, but maybe I can manage that. But pencils means that I can kind of clean things up, and uh, I'm gonna work a little bit broad and everything blends together in the long run, at least for the most part. So, figuring out the pose. I liked the pose in the little sketch that I did, so trying to do a little bit of a close up, figure out the details, a little more of the character design. I don't spend a ton of time on character design. I really liked the character that I put together here a lot. Uh, as you will see in the final piece, because I used this exact, uh, pretty much this exact sketch right here as the base for the final piece. Um, I changed it just the tiniest bit, but I did actually pull out my light box because my sketches, trying to do the sketches, just weren't turning out as well on the final paper, and I got frustrated and I pulled out my light box. Um, but yeah, one of the reasons that I don't do a lot of my semi-realism is that I clothes. I don't really like doing like details in clothes. I don't like dealing with realistic like folds and that sort of thing. Um, I know I should probably practice more. I should do more of that. Maybe I will do more of that now that I'm doing videos. Who knows? Um, but I like how this one turned out, even though if in the end I'm not super happy with the way that the folds and everything like that look, but I made it work. So, which you will see is kind of a thing, sort of a part of how I do art, is just I make it work. And if I can't make it work, then I get frustrated. But for the most part, I make it work. Um, I like her expression, and I'm not entirely sure why she's making that face, but I got really attached to that expression. So, yeah, that's part of why I ended up pulling out my light box, because I couldn't get the expression right when I was sketching it again. And here I am trying to work on hands, because hands are the bane of many an artist's existence. Um, just anything that involves too many working parts all close to each other, I guess. Um, and like I can manage hands usually, just, thinking about them well enough, but, you know, still irritating to me. Alright, so here we go. This is me and my super shaky hands trying to make the brush liner work. Being shaky is actually a result of some neurological issues that I have, which when I get around to doing my actual intro video, which should be the next video, it was supposed to be my second video on my channel, but then I did something different from what I was originally intending to do, so it's taken more time. But that will be the next video that goes up. But yeah, so the shakiness is some neurological issues from medications that I've been on and off of for chronic illness through my life, and it's part of why I'm so heavy-handed, like I talked about in my last video. What makes soft pencils, despite how much I love soft pencils, difficult for me to use is that I am very heavy-handed. So then things like brush liners, especially super soft, long brush liners, using them for actual lining, that gets really tricky, because again, I'm very heavy-handed. Yeah, so I love the color of the Rembrandt. Just this color, like I said, it's like the old royal purple, that's like impossible to find or whatever at this point because of how it was made. Um, and that just, deep, dark colors. I don't really use it to its full effect on this piece, despite the fact that I decided to add my little creepy, sneaking peeks, the peeking sneaks, or whatever I decided to call them. I think the peeking sneaks is what I called them on my Instagram, which I will link down below. Um, but yeah, so I figured my colors out and everything like that. I did a little bit of doodling and everything like that, continued some sketching after my battery died. I kind of had gotten onto a roll by the time I noticed that my battery had died, so I decided that while it was charging, I just continued a little bit of sketching and figuring colors out, and then I did the final sketch. Pulled out my light box, all of that, and yeah, you got a little bit of a peek at it before I erased it. Now, like I said, when I was pulling everything out of the box and I was going through the products, I love colored pencils. I have always loved colored pencils. Art classes, it was one of my favorite mediums to use. Colored pencils, paints, charcoal, just graphite. Those have always been the sort of what I have gone to. Pen and ink sometimes too. I'm not as much. During college, I was really into markers and stuff, but I just. Pencils are always kind of. I always pulled the pencils back in. I shade a lot of my. I would shade my marker pieces with pencil a lot. Also, you'll see my head popping in and out, and my hair suddenly appearing in frame, and I do not apologize for that. A lot of I see a lot of art YouTubers, apologize when their head pops into frame, and for me, I just kind of look at it as you're really into what you're doing, um, and to provide the best view, you're gonna have to kind of your views are going to be things that uh, occasionally you're gonna get into the frame more than just your hand. If you have, if you need to actually see the detail, and for me, I have to lean very heavily on my arm while I am coloring and drawing and that kind of thing sometimes because of the shaky hands. Uh, and also, detail and that kind of thing. My work is gonna suffer if I don't lean in close. So I do not apologize for the fact that my head appears in frame quite frequently. But there, you now have an explanation for my head appears in frame quite frequently. um, but yeah, I did not cut out a whole lot of the coloring when I edited the video, um, so I just sped it up because why cut it out if I don't have to? Um, this would be easier if I had like a general topic. Like that's something I'm gonna do with my art in the future. Here's a general topic for me to discuss right now to go over some of the coloring and that kind of thing that I'm working on right now. Um, One of the things that I'm going to probably do as my channel progresses is I am going to actually in my intro video as well that's going to come up pretty soon is I will talk about things not necessarily art related while I am making art. So I will, talk about different issues that are pertinent to me and my life or things that come up that I feel like are important to talk about. And I will use the voiceover for art pieces to make my commentary. And I'm not going to get into politics and that sort of thing. I'm going to avoid those kind of sensitive subjects as much as possible. But, I am disabled. I am queer. Those are things that are going to come up. And unfortunately, the world has made it so that I cannot really depoliticize those situations all the time. Um, because my ability to live a normal life is politicized, whether I like it or not. Um, but yeah, so basically, you'll have warning if you follow my channel, which you should follow my channel. Um, if you follow my channel, then you will find art videos and things like that. Because primarily, I'm going to be an art channel for the time being. I've got other things that I want to put on, but it's going to be pretty much arts and crafts to start with. Um, there will be times, and the title will warn you, or I'll warn you up front, at the beginning of the video, when the topic is going to be, something other than the art itself. Videos like this with ArtSnacks, there will be review and that kind of thing, but I will warn you if the topic is going to be anything other than the art itself or the art supplies that I'm using. I don't know if you can hear the phone ringing. Please ignore the phone ringing. I don't feel like doing a second take of this voiceover, so you're gonna have to bear with me there. But Um, but yeah, I'll warn you if there's going to be a different topic, and then if you still want to watch me make the art and that sort of thing, then you're more than welcome, obviously, to mute my video and mute my commentary and voiceover and everything and listen to your own music or something like that. I will not be offended if you don't want to listen to me ramble on about things. Um, that you just don't feel like listening to uh, for the time being. Um, and I mean, you're also free to leave me hate comments. Whatever. I don't care if if you are somebody who wants to listen to my commentary on something just to get angry, then feel free. I would hope that you could find something else to do with your life. Something more productive, maybe. Something that will bring you joy um, without trying to develop a heated argument with anybody. But, you know, you do you, I guess. Um, I don't have the energy for all the hate. I might get frustrated or annoyed as long as what you're saying isn't something, you know, really horrid. There are certain things that I will delete comments for, but, for the most part, like I said, you do you. Whatever. I will leave snarky comments maybe if I have the energy and feel like it. Otherwise, I'll leave it up to anybody else who's watching the video and decides to look through the comments. If somebody sees a hateful or nasty comment, then they're welcome to say and do whatever they please in response. I just I will try to read any comments, but if it's something that I read and I kind of go, huh, okay, this person needs to find a life that you know is not dedicated to screaming into the void, um, then whatever. Um, I know there's every chance that me making these videos is kind of just going into the void, but I'm doing this because I enjoy doing this. Because I'm going to be making art anyway, and it's all for fun, and in a way, I mean, yeah, I like the idea of the world seeing my art, other people seeing it that I don't necessarily know personally, but in a lot of ways, it's mostly for friends to see my art process, for me to record my art process, uh, for posterity's sake, I guess. Um, and then talking is therapy. It's therapeutic, just kind of babbling. Again, babbling into the void, babbling into a microphone that, you know, could be picking up anything right now, I guess, because there is a lot of noise going on in the background. Um, I apologize if I'm ever doing a video and you hear weird talking in the background because I live in a basement apartment, uh, and the television upstairs is right over top of my art area and my desk, where I do all of my recording and stuff. And the ceiling is very thin, so I get to hear all of it. I don't know how much of it my microphone is going to pick up. Um, but yeah, and also I have 3 cats and a dog, and pets are noisy. But yeah, so all of that is said, if I ever start talking about something, just in summary, if I ever start talking about something that you don't really want to listen to, like I said, I'll warn if it's going to be something, a video where I'm talking about things other than the art itself. Um, you can always mute and listen to your own music or something else in the background. Doesn't bother me. Um, whatever. Leave hate comments if you want to. I don't care. I will leave it up to other people to respond to those for the most part, unless I'm feeling extra snarky that day. Um, but but yeah. So back to commentary on the actual art piece. Look, my gloves have returned. My compression gloves. That's one thing about using colored pencils that I don't particularly like. Is that the pressure that I end up using makes my hands hurt. It does not help at all with the arthritis and that kind of thing that I deal with. Um, but these pencils are pretty good. Um, they, like I was saying when I was swatching them, they've got filler to them. They're not super smooth. It's not like a polychromos or anything like that. Um, which I don't have any polychromos. I wish I did, but I can't afford it right now. I just have some of the gold Faber, but they they're pretty good pencils. They're not Crayola quality by a long shot. Um, and trust me, I use a lot of Crayola, but these are definitely some that I will be using uh, from now on because they are they are really good. So whenever I have a need for these colors, I guess um, I'll find a need for these colors. But the brush liner too. Brush liner is it's very juicy, and like I said, it's very soft. So it's a little tricky for the finer lines, like doing the hands of the sneaks and that sort of thing. But oh, it's so nice and feathery for doing these lines in the curtains. Oh, like the lines coming away from the hands of the sneaks, just I love them so much. I could have just left them as the only lines and folds in the curtains, and I would have been perfectly happy, but it looked very blank. So I decided to put them in anyway. Um, and here's my head again, you know, because I had to be very close and very careful when I decided that I was going to put some line, I was going to do line work on the girl in the front. When I decided that I was going to do the line work, it was just like, okay, whatever I could do to steady my hand and sort of lighten my touch a little bit. But back to the products being used, that Rembrandt watercolor, I did not use it to its full potential on this piece. Um, I look forward to making a piece where I can use it to its full potential and really go super dark with it, but by this point my hands were hurting so much um, that there are a lot of pieces of video that I cut out that are just me having to take breaks, pull my hands back, and just be like, ouch. Um, Stretch my hands, flex my fingers, that kind of thing. Like you can see me using my left hand to sort of brace my right hand um, when it would start to really ache or get really shaky. Um, so again, as much as I love pencils, I don't do full pencil pieces for a reason. Um, Probably most of my pencil, what you're gonna end up seeing is gonna be like me doing something with watercolor washes and then doing the shading in pencil. doing details in pencil, that sort of thing. But yeah, so here you go. Here's my finished piece. I wasn't super happy with it when I finished it at first, but it's been definitely growing on me over time. And peeled the tape. Oh, oh, the watercolor did not seep under the tape at all, and it was so satisfying to peel the tape. Oh, it was so nice. Um, I did end up going back in and adding some shading to the curtains later, which I didn't film because my battery again was pretty much dead at this point. Um, and I kind of figured if I didn't do it right then I was not going to do it. Um, I had to do it before I put everything away and cleaned everything up. But because I realized that I hadn't really done any like actual shading after putting the lines and stuff on the curtains, so that had to happen. But yeah, so here is my finished piece. I am very happy with it, and I hope you like it. So if you want to follow me on Instagram to see more art, to get an idea of when, videos are going to go up, that kind of thing, then I will link that down below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, despite my rambling and babbling and that sort of thing. I will be back pretty soon with a different medium. And my intro video. I actually painted in acrylic for the first time in years, and then I will be back again. I'm not sure when. So my goal is to do like 2 videos a month most of the time. Possibly more than that right now until the coronavirus thing is through. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button, hang out if you want to, and I will see you in the next video.